Hey guys, welcome back. So I hope you guys enjoyed part one. This is gonna be part two, so 5 through 1, basically. And so with number five, so these top five are my favorite ones, right? Okay. With these next two, 4 and 5, they kind of flip flop for me. So I know I'm gonna get probably a ton of hate mail, a ton of downvotes, all other shit like that. But number five for me is Superman the movie from 1978. Look, I quite enjoy this movie. I respect it for what it is. It was one of the first comic book movies to be made. It's basically the blueprint for why we have the abundance of comic movies we've got. Because look, without this first movie, we wouldn't have the Raimi trilogy. We wouldn't have the X-Men movies. We wouldn't have the plethora of Batman movies we've had over the years. Hell, we wouldn't even have the MCU if not for Donner's first Superman movie. This has been the blueprint for many superhero movies over the years. And I look, are there a few things wrong with the movie? Yes. Like, for example, the effects are dated as shit. They were done in the 70s. But hey, you will still believe a man can fly. But yeah, like, I enjoy this movie. I love this movie. Like, I even watch the 3-hour extended cut every time, which is basically the extended TV cut from the 80s put on Blu-ray, which I own, which is still in the storage unit with my other movies. But yeah, like, I love the action in this movie. I love how the movie's written. The score by John Williams is phenomenal. I don't think I've heard a bad score by him at all. Like, at all. I mean, I may have seen some bad movies that he scored, but the scores themselves are not bad. Like, Dial of Destiny, great, has a good score. The sequel trilogy has a good score, despite how much I don't like those movies. But I've said this before. Even bad movies can have good music. And Dial of Destiny and the sequel trilogy are among those. But we're talking about Superman here. But yeah, the theme for the John Williams theme, I literally had that in my head after seeing the new movie. Because they do play snippets of it throughout the film. So, like, yeah, I love Superman the movie. People said the spinning the world back doesn't make sense. And they're right, it doesn't. But it's awesome, and I'll give it credit. But it's awesome, and I'll allow it. So number 4 is, again, I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate mail for saying this, putting this over Superman the movie, but Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice Ultimate Edition. I saw the theatrical cut in theaters. I gave it like a 7. I enjoyed it for what it was, but it was chopped to ribbons in the editing, because they chopped 30 minutes out of this movie, and for reasons, because I guess they wanted more show times to make more money. Well, it kind of worked. It grossed almost $900 million, so it kind of worked. But because of the reception, they basically butchered both Suicide Squad and the Justice League movie. Speaking of Suicide Squad, release the Ayer cut, you motherfuckers. Thank you. I have spoken my piece on that one. But look, I love the direction Zack took the movie. I like the idea of showing how Superman's actions in Man of Steel kind of paint his image to humanity. Like, some people love him, some people hate him, they worship him as a god, and some worship him as a god, some think he's like a terrorist. And I love that idea. Like, the only thing I really don't like is the Africa subplot, because I don't see why Superman's doesn't get put on trial for the events of Man of Steel, considering that's literally how the movie opens. It literally opens with essentially Bruce's point of view of the Black Zero event from the end of Man of Steel. So I don't know why you didn't run with that? Why you had to create this whole other conflict for Superman to be doubting himself? And yeah, so I said this a bit about the Superman movie, the 2025 Superman movie, where Lex orchestrates a conflict in a foreign country just to tarnish Superman's reputation. Yeah, that's literally this movie. BVS is literally the Superman 2025 literally takes from BVS, where Lex orchestrates a conflict in Africa just to tarnish Superman's reputation, because he sends KGBs and his squad, or we don't call them his soldiers, to kill several African people and light them on fire in the Ultimate Edition, just to frame Superman, to make it look like he used his heat vision to kill people, and even paid an African woman to lie to Senate, saying that Superman came to the village and murdered everyone without prejudice. And much like Superman 2025, Lex is defeated, essentially by Lois exposing him. So yeah, I don't see why people crap on this movie, give that one a pass. Oh, speaking of the hypocrisy, wait till I get to Man of Steel. But yeah, and look, say what people want about Lex Luthor in this movie. He won. He got what he wanted. Superman dead. He won. Yeah, it was undone in Justice League, but still, Lex won. He got Superman dead. Anyway, I could probably do a whole video on that, on the Justice League trilogy, as that box set calls it. But I got more movies to talk about. Number 3, Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut. So, as I've said before, Donner was filming both movies, both 1 and 2, simultaneously. The conflicts happened, and he was booted off Superman 2. So, much like the Justice League situation, fans called for Donner's cut of Superman 2. WB was like, yeah, we want to do it, but there's some legal issues that we got to sort out first, which was the Brando estate. So when Superman Returns was being made, the makers of that movie went to the Brando estate, said, hey, we want to use some of Brando's footage, can we do that? Which gave Michael Thaw the idea, who was producer and editor on the Donner cut, went to the estate, said, hey, we want to put together together like a director's cut of Superman 2, but we need Brando's footage. He even said that if we couldn't get the Brando footage, it wasn't worth doing the cut. So they got Brando's footage and they made it. And despite it being considered incomplete and unfinished, because they had to use some of Lester's footage along with screen test footage, and I think even shots and stuff from the first movie, it's great. I love this version of Superman 2. It clocks in about 1 hour and 56 minutes, so it's like 11 minutes shorter, but it's again because Donner never had to finish filming. And look, people complain about the spin the world back again, but this is where it was originally supposed to be, was the end of the second movie. The first movie was supposed to end with the Hackensack missile that Superman throws into space, hitting the Phantom Zone and bringing the criminals to Earth. And that's how this cut opens. It opens with the original planned cliffhanger. But yeah, I love this cut of the movie. It's super, no pun intended, but it's such a great movie. I mean, it's such a great movie. So let's see. Number 2 is Zack Snyder's Justice League. Okay, so this is like a 4-hour movie, and it does not feel like 4 hours at all. It feels like maybe 2.5 or 3 hours long. This movie does more service. Like, put it this way. Many people said that Cyborg was essentially pointless in the theatrical cut. Oh no. He is entirely important to the plot. So is the Flash. Because the Flash, at the end of the movie, has to... Okay, let me paint you a little picture here. So, they have to stop the Unity before it can essentially terraform Earth. because Darkseid wants the anti-life equations on Earth. Problem is, they failed to stop the Unity because Flash is in the middle of building up this charge to put Cyborg into the mother box, but because Flash gets shot by a lucky shot from a parademon, they miss the window and the Unity form happens. So Barry has to go back in time in order to give Victor another chance. And it is a glorious moment. So yeah, this was a glorious moment. Seeing Barry turn back time, having all the land reform behind him, and it was awesome. And also, Affleck's characterization as Batman is restored here. For going from the murderous Batman, even though Keaton's Batman strapped a bomb to somebody and blew them the fuck up, but sure, let's dunk on Affleck, even though, again, Keaton killed in his movies, strapped a bomb to a goon, used the Batmobile thrusters to incinerate somebody. I could keep going, but I'm not going to. But yeah, and I love the flag, I love the fact that Superman wears the black suit in this movie because it's straight out of the comics. Which, isn't that what fans want? Shit from the comics and the movies? Anyway, I could go on, but I don't want to. I have another movie to talk about. So, number 1 is Man of Steel. So, this was the movie that made me a Superman fan. My first Superman movie was Superman Returns. As I said in my other video, I didn't like it. I thought it was boring. So, I went into this one like, okay, I didn't like the last one, so I don't know if I'm going to like this one. I ate my words. I kicked my own ass. And I loved it. I still to this day. Like, I love how they made Zod. Like, I love the way they made Zod a more three-dimensional character compared to how he is in Superman 2, where he literally just wanted to take over Earth because he could. But this version is, the way they established the Kryptonian race is through artificial population. Each Kryptonian was born to fulfill a certain role in society. Zod's was to ensure the Kryptonian race at all cost. So he wants to terraform Earth and make it habitable for Krypton. Now, before my phone craps out on me, let me get to this. The destruction. Last 12 years, I've heard people bitch and moan about the total destruction of the movie, even though Superman 2025 also has destruction. And before you say they say in the movie they evacuate everyone, there is no way they could have evacuated Metropolis in 10 minutes. So don't anyone try and come to me about the Man of Steel destruction. Also, Superman killed Zod in this movie, like he did in Superman 2, yet no one bitched. Here, it makes sense because he was put in an impossible situation. Whereas in Superman 2, he crushed Zod, he depowered Zod, crushed his hand, essentially threw him down a chasm of possibly freezing ice cold water, and doesn't relax about it. Here, he just snapped Zod's neck and actually had remorse for it. But yet, Cavill was the bad Superman. Okay. I don't get it, but okay. And also in BV, and I'm going to jump back to BVS. People complain about Superman sacrificing himself. Even though he basically says, when he says, this thing's running the world, my world, he's basically taking responsibility for Doomsday's creation. So he's trying to own up to his mistake by sacrificing himself. He's making himself collateral damage. Duh. Alright, so that is my ranking. I thank you.